Hey folks, this is Scott and welcome to the X-Fed Homestead. Well, we got our first snowstorm here and it looks like all the gardening's done for the winter. This is officially the end of all the gardening and farming that we were doing, and we'll have to look forward to more of it next year. But I was thinking just a few months ago, instead of snowing, it was 70 degrees and sunny when I took my family on vacation to Ireland. We went to see the house that I used to live in when I was a kid. My children and my wife had never seen that before, so that was exciting. And we enjoyed some of the sights and had a bit of fun over there in Ireland. But one of the things that we saw were sheepdogs doing their work, herding sheep. So I wanted to share with you some video of our trip so that you can see how sheepdogs worked in the wilds of Ireland. The Kissane Sheep Farm is located on a desolate and winding road along the famous Ring of Kerry. The remote area is mountainous and barely inhabited, but maintains a rugged, wind-swept beauty. It has been a working farm for over 200 years. Hey folks, this is Scott at the X-Fed Homestead, except we're not at the X-Fed Homestead today. We're at the Kissane Sheep Farm to watch a sheepdog demonstration. And Johnny and Evan, who are our local hosts today, will show us how their sheepdogs perform and how they use voice and whistle commands in order to manipulate herds of sheep. Johnny and Evan started the demonstration by answering questions for the folks that had come to visit the farm.
Yeah. When you're training the dogs, how long each day do you work with them?
About 5 minutes each day.
Okay.
There's no headwind going too far, because the dogs get fed up with it and the sheep get fed up with it, and maybe 5 minutes a day with quiet sheep, as Evan said, in a small area, and do a little bit and be advancing away all the time.
Thank you.
Sometimes you'll be going backwards as well, but yeah, that happens.
Do you ever put them in sheepdog trials? And is it
Yeah,
the same?
sheepdog competition. We were just competing yesterday, actually, myself and Johnny. Yeah. Yes, we do sheepdog competitions too, so that happen most Sundays all around Ireland, really, in the summer months. And then in the winter season, it's for nursery, so that's dogs under 3 years of age.
That's our social life.
Yeah.
And it's the same skill. It's the same skills.
Basically, yeah, it wouldn't be in a place like this now. You'd have a nice level green field. And you'd only have 4 sheep left out at the bottom. So say there's 4 sheep at the bottom of this paddock now, near that big rock down there. So there's a set of hurdles in the middle then, between the sheep and me there's a set of hurdles. So you'll have to bring them sheep from the rock down below in a straight line through them sets of hurdles, around you here, drive them either left or right through another set of hurdles, cross drive them through another set, either to the left to the right or right to left, and another set of hurdles back to you, split them 2 and 2. So you have 4, so divide them 2 and 2 with the dog, put them back together, put them in a small pen, way smaller than this, only a small little box, take them out of the pen and then maybe shed 1 off the 3. So that's what you're done. That's a competition, so you have a time limit. It's not about doing it as quick. If you do it fast, you're running your sheep too much and they're under stress and you're actually losing points. So it's all about doing it in a controlled manner, doing it as close to the time as possible and keeping your sheep in straight lines. That's what you're trying to do basically. And as you know, sheep do not walk in straight lines. They either go left or right or something like that. So that's the toughest thing, is to keep them in straight lines. Yeah, so Johnny is using one dog this evening. So that dog's name is Jill. So Jill is a 2.5-year-old Blue Merle cross Border Collie. So has anyone heard of the Blue Merle before? They know where it's from, yeah. So it'll be an Australian herding breed in New Zealand. So the most commonly used dog around here would be the Border Collie. So Johnny has 6 dogs in total. He has a Kelpie, which is another Australian breed, and he has 4 Border Collies. So I have 6 dogs myself, all Border Collies. So whoever trains these dogs, that's the only person they work for. So Johnny's dogs only respond to him, and my dogs only respond to me. So we both train our dogs to voice commands and whistle commands. So Johnny's voice commands, so his verbal commands, he keeps it nice and simple. So for Johnny's dogs to go left is left, right is right, yeah, sit down is to stop, and walk on is straight forward. So my commands are a bit different. So for my dogs to go left is come by. So come by, be clockwise, away, anti-clockwise, sit down and walk on are both the same. So So we'll train them fully to voice commands first, and then we introduce the whistle. So we'll switch over from voice to whistle at about a year and a half of age. So the dog will fully know its sides by now by verbal command. To switch over to whistle then, Johnny would just simply say the word left. His dog would go left, he'd blow whatever whistle he wants for that. He'd say right, his dog would go right, and he'd blow whatever whistle he wants for that. Same for stop and go, the dog around the place. But like I said, literally 1 week of training and that dog will have switched over to whistle commands. Wow. So obviously using your dogs and whistles has a few advantages. You can work your dogs at a greater distance by whistle compared to your voice. That whistle will travel up to 2 kilometers away, even more on a nice day like today. And your voice will not be able to carry that far. And your voice is different every day, and the dogs can sense emotion through our voices. So if we're very cross some days and working the dogs and we sound cross, some dogs do not like working when they get that cross, when they think you're getting cross at them, and they will not work half as good. With that whistle, Johnny cannot blow a cross whistle. There's only one sound that comes out of it, and that's whatever sound he makes. So the dogs cannot sense emotion through the whistle. That's another good reason for a whistle. Farm. It's a big mountain farm, so if you look at that mountain all to your behind you or to your left, it's all part of the farm. It gives you a good impression of what type of land is here. So 2,500 acres sounds great, but if you look around, you're very limited of what you can do. It's not 2,500 acres of good land, it's 2,500 acres of rocks and stones basically. Yeah, so the main road divides the farm into 3 here. So you have all that mountain to your left. You have the main road that all came off here, the N71. If you look from the main road down to the river floor, so you see that pond just near the white van now, this side of the white van, there's a pond. Just beyond that is a river, so that'll be the boundary. Runs right back that valley, so you can follow it all the way back the river, all the way back to the trees in the very far distance. So that'll be the second part of the farm. The third part will be Avoca. There's a cafe just up the road. These sheep give birth on the mountains, so it's a mountain farm. They stay up in the mountains all year round. They only come off it 6-7 times a year. And that's the main reason why we have the dogs. You have to go up in the mountains, places like that. You can see how rough that is. There's only one way you can travel that, and that's by walking. You'll be walking for 4 or 5 hours gathering places like that. Yeah. Whenever Johnny's ready. So he gave Jill a little left whistle by mouth that ye probably didn't even hear. So she's down here now in front of us. Yeah, so if you look at the speed she can travel through the land here, it's not a nice level green field here. There's a lot of obstacles that the dog has to work through. So the training is the dog goes in a nice circle around the sheep. You don't want your dog rushing right into the sheep because it spooks them. And you see the sheep are moving now. So the reason the sheep move from that dog reminds them of a wolf in the past. So in the sheep's eyes, that's the predator coming towards them. So that's why they'll always move the opposite direction compared to that dog. So she's away up here now. So now Johnny's going to give her right whistle. You can see how she changed. So it's up to Johnny to guide the dog to the sheep. The dogs don't see the sheep all the time. It's up to the owner to give them the commands to get them to them sheep. That's the stop whistle. That's right. So she's listening to Johnny the whole time. The dogs aren't doing it themselves. That's left again. So like I said, that dog is always on the listen for Johnny. So today's a lovely calm evening. You can hear that whistle travels very well. So you see when the dog gets closer, the sheep get faster, like I said. So that's the predator, so the closer the predator gets, the faster the sheep move. And when you make your dog sit down, that takes away the pressure from the sheep. They don't feel under threat anymore, so they can relax themselves.
Oh my gosh.
So we start training the dogs at about 5 or 6 months of age. And hopefully after a year and a half you'll have the dog fully trained. And not every dog is cut out for the job. Some don't make the grade at all. You can breed from the best, and that certainly does not mean your pups are going to be good. So if the dogs don't make the grade around here, we're happy to give them away as free once they go to a good home. Yeah, I know in the States or Canada you pay thousands for pet border collies, but around here they're a very common dog and they're not very sought after as pets because they're everywhere basically. Different story if they're trained. A good trained dog can make up to 5,000-6,000, sell him to another farmer. So you see the sheep now, the way they stay huddled together and they're not looking at you, they'll always keep their eyes on the dog.
Oh my God.
So the colours, you're probably wondering about the colours. So every farmer has a different colour, it's identification. So the colour here is a red backside and a K in the right hand shoulder. So you can see some of them have bright colours. The other ones are faded off already. So we have to apply that maybe 4 times a year. So it's just an oil based paint and has absolutely no effect on the wool. So both male and female of this breed have horns. They're the Scottish Blackface Mountain. There's a few with cracked off horns. The one up the top closest to you has lost her horns in her life. Another one down here. So if the sheep lose their horn, it does not grow back. It's not like the deer's antler. They shed their antlers every year and they grow new ones. If the sheep lose it, it's gone for life. Left by voice, so her left is just left. So you can hear he's barely speaking.
Sit down. Right, 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 right.
So you can hear, like I said, he's barely speaking, but the dog's hearing is around 20 or 30 times better than human hearing. So you don't have to be roaring and shouting. The dogs can hear you perfectly. So the whistle then just replicates the voice. So we'll do the whistle now. So this is her left. Stop. Now right. Okay. So you can hear the different pitches, the different sounds. So if Johnny was working 2 dogs at the one time, he'd have a different set of whistles for each dog. So each dog is only programmed to their own set, and they do not respond to another dog's whistle. So it's the same whistle that he puts in his mouth, it's just a different way of playing it. And them whistles are very hard to use. I know there'll be some people wondering where can you buy a whistle to make the same sounds that Johnny's making. But I guarantee not one person in the whole group here would make a sound out of that whistle. Yeah, so it's not one you just get and you put in your mouth. It actually takes a lot of practice to make any sound come out of that whistle. Good question. So like in the past, wool was the reason for these sheep because they produce a big fleece and they grow it fast, so they were done twice a year. So nowadays there's no money in the wool. There is sheep that produce high quality wool and there's good money in that wool, but if you look around where we are, you cannot, them sheep would not survive in a place like this. So that's why we're kind of caught with this breed. So there's no money in the wool, but these sheep are still producing lambs every year for us, so all the lambs will get sold off the farm. Another reason to keep the sheep is you get grant aid from the government, so you get subsidised for keeping sheep on the mountains. So you get so much per acre of land, and you get so much per head of sheep. So that's another reason to have sheep nowadays. So payments from the government basically, and tourism, money for tourism to this farm. With the last 20 plus years, you would not survive in a place like this anymore. You could not make money off the lambs alone, or the wool is so bad. Like I said, it's a struggle to try and get someone to actually buy the wool. So you can all start moving over the right hand side again. Move the sheep down a bit. So these dogs are only fed once a day. And that's before bed, and what they eat is like a high protein nuts, just dry kibble, and it's only once a day before bed. And these dogs will literally go all day. Once they get a few seconds of a break, they go again and again and again. So they have a very big engine. So now, so thank you very much, Johnny. Yeah, give a round of applause.
One of the interesting things about this particular location is if you look down here at this beautiful valley, It's called the Black Valley, even though it's absolutely brilliant today on a beautiful Irish day. And it was the last place in Ireland to get electricity in about the 1970s or so. I hope you enjoyed this video about sheep herding and how the herd dogs work. It's very fortunate that today we got such a beautiful sunny day. It's been raining here for the last couple of months or so. And so it's really been a beautiful week for us to tour Ireland. So I hope you learned something today. And until next time, this is Scott at the XFed Homestead.